Reconnect. Reconnect. Yeah, I'm crazy. There we go. Just need to reset the mic. We'll see how the audio syncs up with the video. But it's Shaggy SoCal, 2Old4Forza, and time for week 2 for the season TNT and the Mazda LMP2 car, the Mazda Skyactiv LMP2 car. First race was Road Atlanta. I'll probably, talk a little about that race during the mock race a little bit later. Week 2, we moved to Mugello. So again, what I'll do is I'll just run a couple of outlaps to kind of refresh my memory of how to get around here. Then, I'll do a slower turn by turn, kind of what I think the car is doing, what it likes, what I'm looking for. Again, not saying my way is the right way, but at least, maybe hopefully fills in a little bit of a knowledge gap. And then, excuse me. Yeah, then I'm going to run a mock race with what I think is half distance. Matt put 40 laps for Mugello for this coming Thursday, so I'll run 20 and see how long it takes me. I suspect we won't run quite that many laps on Thursday, but we'll find out. But let's go ahead and go on a test drive and just get going here. So again, Mugello, like Road Atlanta, natural terrain road course, a lot of elevation changes, very flowing. The one thing Mugello doesn't have that Road Atlanta did is some really tight second gear corners. But it also has very limited places that are optimally, a few optimal passing places. I'll get into that in a little bit, but third gear through here and pull tires, pull back in, fourth gear, brake. One thing I can tell you is curbing here is treacherous. It looks relatively flat, but depending on which curbing you hit and how you hit it, it's treacherous. I would just say, for the most part, trying to avoid entry curbing and exit curbing. Apex curbing is 50-50 shot. I think part of that is because, again, things we learned, at least things I learned really about this car, Road Atlanta, based off some of the incidents that happened during the race. The front of this car is really low. And I know that even in our testing, I pointed out to Matt that, the car was bottoming out a lot. And I know he raised the nose a little bit, but you can kind of see, if you see me go off on the exit curbs, you'll see a lot of it. The front is still going to catch. And that can still upset the car, get it loose, especially, getting on the curbing on entry like that. Down. Second or third gear here. I think second is better, but gotta watch out for the wheel spin. Short shift to third. Back into the throttle. Use a little bit of that curve. Third up to fourth. Back down to third. Little curve there. Little curve there. Oh, and a little wide. I can do this third. You do it in fourth. Up to fourth. Roll it in. Turn the car in. Just ease off the throttle to get the car into the apex. Roll back in. Same thing. Turn 8. Roll off. Roll back on. Love downforce. There's a lot of curving there. And the second gear. So this one could be done in third. I'm still experimenting with a couple of these turns. And the final turn. That's probably a little slow. Alright, so Mugello, we'll do the slow track right here. So front straightaway, fourth gear up to fifth gear. Again, I'm going to hug to the right side and just kind of let the car naturally come across to the left side. braking for me um, is, again, for me, in keeping eyes on the braking line, I kind of correlate it with the Black Forza banner there on the right side. For me, as I'm watching there, as I see that go out of view, I will hit the brakes. That's where I'm braking to get into turn one. And, my habit, this is good or bad, is I tend to try to aim to straight line the braking going into the turn. So I think the braking line wants you to go more traditional. You'll brake in a straight line from here, parallel to the left side of the track, and then release and then turn in. I tend to diamond it a little bit, or I'll brake in a straight line early, pointing towards the inside curving. It works if you're trying to surprise somebody for passing, but it really, to take the line that I like to take, getting the braking right is critical because at the time I'm getting to this curving, I'll probably be down in third gear, maybe second. I'm still playing around with that. If I'm still carrying too much speed when I release the brakes to really commit into the turn, the car will push wide, and it'll just push wide a little bit and get it back up. But depending how bad it is, it might open me up for someone to try the crossover and exit. If I've got somebody on my outside, I might push into them, and then why are you hitting me? Um, what I'm not sure of on this one is uh, you can do it in third, or you could do it in second. I think it comes down to feel. I'm still debating that because I think second actually works better. The car seems to have a little more kick out of this corner. Third, you got to really, you probably have to start really getting back to the throttle earlier than you think, just because you got to get the boost built up and get the car out of the corner. So it'll feel a little sluggish until you are part way up the hill here. So for me, I like I'll differ from the braking line a little bit. Braking line kind of wants you to go out, maybe about mid track, a little past mid track, and then bring the car back across. I don't at this point. I'm just going to hug the inside, leave a little wiggle room on the right side. But I like getting the car out of the corner on the right side because it straightens it out, evens out the weight, and sets me up nicely for the next set of corners for 2 and 3. So for me, second gear, and if you're in second gear coming out, you don't spin the rear tires, you don't spin yourself out. You might be able to leave it in second all the way up through here. You might be banging the rev limiter just so you get to braking. You might want to upshift to third gear. If you're already in third, there's no need to upshift further. This is the other one I'm still trying to work out. Braking here, regardless, for me with the braking line, it's when the course condition light there on the left side goes out of view. As I see that really go out of view, that's also when I'm lining up with the braking line. So I'll brake there. This is the other one. I actually like downshifting to second. Um, again, for me, it's all about that when the car and its heels are on its toes. If I can put it on its toes, it'll help. The engine kicking will help slow the car down a little bit, and because it's on its toes, and you got a little more weight in the front tires, the car seems to turn in a little easier. The risk is in second gears, we live in Atlanta. If you're not careful on how you get back to the throttle, you can spin the rear tires up if you don't have traction control. If you do, then you're probably fine. But what I'll be doing here is, and again, I mentioned it on the outlaps. Curves are deadly here. This car, especially the front of this car, sits very, very low. So you really want to be, for any of these corners, and I've especially noticed the next set of left-right, you really want to be careful how far out you get setting up for the interior corners. You really want to try and keep your outside tires off the curbing, because when you hit the brakes and you're going to turn in, if the front scrapes, you may be enough to unweight the back of the car and pitch you sideways. And it's not totally uncatchable, but it's just, again, you do that, you're going to scrub speed. You might run into somebody, you might open yourself up to getting past. So I would say entry curbings on the outside, try to stay off them as much as you can, just because of, to keep the back in line. Exit curbings, about the same thing. Some exit curbings you can get away with a little bit, but you'll see kind of what I'm talking about here. Apex curbings, it's 50-50. So I'm going to turn down. I'm actually going to try and clip the curbing here a little bit. My intention here is because it's a left-right, this corner isn't as important as the next one. Um, and so I'm going to try and keep, given the nature of this car, it's going to be hard for me to really keep the car all the way to the left. I will, so I'll probably bring it out to about mid-track. If I bring it up further to the left, it's probably because someone's in front of me and I'm possibly setting up to try and get alongside on exit. But regardless, if I take that corner in second or third, I'm going to pop it. If I'm in second, I'm going to pop it and short shift in here to third to set it for the next corner. I don't recall really needing to brake. It's really just kind of easing off the throttle and turning the car in, getting it into the apex. You can get on the curbing here a little bit, roll back into the throttle. Exit curbing out here, you can get on. What you'll notice is as you hit it, depending on how far you get on it, you'll see, and I run HUD view, I'll see the little scrapes and sparks kind of fly off on the left side of the car. It does slow the car a little bit because again, it's the front end is bottoming out. So, you can use a little bit of it. I would say, maybe try to keep, most of your nose, on the track and maybe just get off a little bit. But again, third gear, up to fourth, bring the car back over the right side. And for me, what I'm looking for is you can kind of see from here. Now the braking line's not there, but if you look at the road, you can kind of see the where the pavement gets darker, where the braking zone is, and you can kind of see the horizontal lines going across that kind of like where cars in the past over time of running laps have hit the brakes and scraped their nose and just kind of dug up the little ridges there. So usually it's about where those start. If you can see that patch, it's about where I'm braking here. So third gear, this corner, the braking line is trying to wreck you. If you follow the braking line religiously and you're centering your car up on the braking line, you're putting your right sides off the track onto the curbing, and it will be enough that if you're not careful, as you go to the brakes and turn in for this next corner, the back end will want to step out. So I would say don't trust the braking line. Try and be neat and tidy and keep all four tires on the track if you can. I say that I probably won't follow that. I'll probably cheat and I'll probably have some moments here or there with it. But regardless, quick break down to third gear. Similar left-right combo. I'm going to turn the car in. Still in third gear. Get on the inside curbing there a little bit. Right about mid-track, still third gear, ease off the throttle, turn in, roll back into the throttle, on the curbing a little bit, and maybe just use a little bit of the exit curbing here. The other thing I was noticing, at least with me with the wheel, is when you get on some of these curbings, it wants to pull the car off the track. That's the other reason why you may want to try to be as neat and tidy as possible. But here, heading down third gear, fourth gear, now hitting down into, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down to turn 6 and starting this wonderful complex of turns. For turn 6, what I'm using as an additional reference point is the orange painted walls there on the left side. Oops, wrong stick. As those goes out of view, if that's hard for you to see, you might see where the access road joins the track. But usually when that's going out, that's for me. I'm going to hit the brakes. This is where I'm still debating. I don't know what gear, if third or fourth is better. I think both work. I think it comes down to personal preference, what you think or what you feel what works best for you. Again, the difference will be is if you put it in third, you're going to have a little bit better turn in. At least that's my opinion. Um, for this turn here, 6, 7, yeah, for turn 6. But regardless, whether you're in fourth or third, you're going to do a quick brake off, turn the car in. You're going to try and use the curbing here. I'm going to try and use as much curbing as I can. Now, if I get a lot of curbing here, the car doesn't really bottom out. But one of the things that I do feel is as I come across, if the inside tires start to hit the edge of the curbing, I'm going to feel the curbing is actually going to push the car back out to the left just a smidge. So you can use a lot of curbing. Just know that if the left side start hitting the curb, it's going to unsettle the car a little bit and give it just that smidge of understeer and shove you left. But don't be surprised. Out third gear or fourth gear, whichever you decide to do. Down here, I'm going to keep it about mid-track to open up this corner a little bit and then turn the car in. I'll probably shift to fourth at this point, or I may shift just out of this corner for turn 7. Let the car come out, try and stay off the curb if I can, fourth gear, bring the car back across, and setting up for turn, yeah, for turn 8. This is one that when we hear the GT40, this is one of the because the GT40 was such an unruly beast as far as the back end of the car, you really needed to stay off the outside curbing here as you turn in. So, and I think this car is the same thing. That outside curbing is enough, and this car is set up enough that if you get on it at the wrong time and that outside tire hits, because you're trying to carry as much speed in as you can, it can pitch the car sideways. So you'll feel the back end step out a little bit. So try and stay off the curbing on the left side if you can. Turn the car in. I'll be on throttle. I'll probably let off. This is one of those bravery things. You can actually start to turn in full throttle, and just about as the curbing on the inside starts going out of view, there is a point. Just and play around with it, experiment. I can't do this flat. I don't think you can do it flat. So the trick is, how far can you go into the corner full throttle before you have to crack it to get the front end to get the car to the apex? I think it's somewhere about here is where I'll crack the throttle. Again, I'm not really paying attention to how far I'm coming out of the throttle. I guess it's by feel where I'm coming out of the throttle enough where I'm not where the front tires aren't having to try and fight the push of the rear of the car of the drivetrain trying to push it forward, that they can get grip and they can turn. Um, but it's just letting off enough, getting the car to the apex. I'm going to try and stay off the inside curbing here if I can, and once I get to the apex, start to roll back into the throttle. I should be full throttle somewhere about here, back up to the outside here. In most other cars, I am trying to use as much of this outside curbing as I can to set up for turn 9. Um, I'm not sure. This it's kind of sketchy. So I might use a little bit of it. I might stay off it as much as I can. But again, full throttle as you head up here. For me, it's right as I'm reaching almost the end of the curbing here and the beginning of the curbing on the inside. Same thing as turn 8. I'm going to turn the car in. I'm going to release the throttle, get out of the throttle. It's not really all the way out. I might be 75% of the way out. Again, just enough. I don't want the back tire to keep trying to accelerate the car. Just get it into a good spot, get some weight in the front tires, let it turn in, let the car do the work through the corner, get it about the apex, roll back in full throttle. Again, other cars that have less grip and less downforce, I would always say, hey, be careful. You're cresting a hill and it's off camber, so just be careful the back end. This car's got downforce galore, so you don't have to worry about the back stepping out as you crest the hill. Just know that your angle through this corner, it's very easy to go off on the left side. So just, if you the second you think that the car is going to start to go off, just crack the throttle a little bit. That'll just give you that little bit more steering on the car to keep it off the track. Again, I would not use a lot of this outside curving if you can help it. So I think you're still 4th gear. I'm not sure if you get up to 5th gear. Maybe get up to 5th gear. I don't have an additional reference point. I'm relying on the braking line. It's somewhere about here. I'll have to pay attention when I coming down for turn 10 here, where the braking line is in correlation with the curbing. That's usually probably the easiest way to say if you're following somebody close and you can't see the braking line, can you spot the curbing ahead of time to know where to back off and where to touch the brakes. So there's that. So here for this one I'm still playing around with. I think ideally I want to do this in 3rd gear, but if I'm going to do it in 3rd gear, I have to make sure I get my braking done correctly, because I'm not going to get any engine braking help turning in. It's really all going to be mechanical grip at that point, but I will try and late apex it. So if you can see on the inside curbing, you'll see the green, white, and red curbing, and then you see the inside kind of extra tarmac. But just towards the end of the curbing, you can kind of see. I'm assuming that's drainage, a drainage grate. That's just kind of that off-color grassy olive green. That's kind of what I'm using as far as like if I have to find an apex. To me, that's where the apex of this corner is. So I'll try and get here late, set up for the middle, middle of the corner. And then this corner here, I seem to be able to use a lot more of the curbing than some of the other turns. Roll back in, third gear, up to fourth. And then braking for me for this hairpin is right when that light pole on the left side goes out of view. That's, again, it's not like I'm only looking for that, but that seems to correlate with the braking line with where I like to brake. So this is the other corner where it's a nice hairpin. I don't know. I'm at this point, I think on the wheel, I'm still braking a little too early. I think I can maybe brake a smidge later or maybe, carry a little more speed in. This is another one where I'm not sure if third or fourth is better. Um, it's really all about if you're going to do it in third, you really need to be able to make sure you can keep the revs up so that as you come out of the corner and you're getting to full throttle, you're getting max torque and you're getting good pull out of it. So for me, I might do second gear if I'm stuck in traffic. It might help me get out of the corner a little bit better, but I like the feeling in second a little better, but we'll see how I do in the mock race. But this is the other turn where I'm going to differ from the braking line a little bit. I'm going to hug the inside. I'm going to keep it to the inside all the way through so that I am set up and the car's already set up on the right side of the course for the chicane. I don't know if this is, let's see, that was 10, 11. I don't know if this is 12 and 13 and the final corner is 14 or if this is 12A, 12B. I have to look at the track map. But at this point, I'm going to be full throttle going up through the gears, third gear, fourth gear. For me, we'll see. I'm going to try and pay attention exactly where I'm turning in. Um, because I think you can turn in a little bit earlier than you think you can. A lot of times I'm kind of going off of where this curving starts as the turn in point where I'll start to arc the car in. And, maybe it's a little bit later with this car, but the whole idea is if I can apex this one late and then kind of and be as straight as possible, minimize the amount of steering, that should help me carry the maximum amount of speed through that chicane. Bring the car back out to the right side and coming down to the final corner, again, bring the car out to the right side, be mindful of the curbing and that it can unsettle the car. For me, braking is just before, it was kind of funny on the controller. I was getting on the brakes right as I was getting to the 50 board there on the right. I can't seem to do that on the wheel. So for me, it's a little bit before the 50, maybe about here. Excuse me, I'll be in fifth gear, drop it down to third, bring the car in. You might do a double apex where you get it in early, bring the car back out. But what I'm trying to do is if I'm keeping it to the inside here, I'm going to try and get my eyes up and looking for the exit curbing on the exit of this corner. The second I find that, I think I'm pretty sure I can really commit back into full throttle, let the car come all the way out, stay off this curving. This curving is like nasty at speed. You can see the sparks there. Uh, I would, in your practice, really, really try to stay off that exit curving going down the front stretch. Again, that's the most important turn. It leads on the longest straightaway and the best place for you to set up pass to draft and pass down in turn one. But that's Mugello. Um, we'll have to see how this car. Now that I have a better idea of how we race this car against each other, I think this will have. I think there'll be some better passing opportunities. I'm just not sure. Much like Road Atlanta, there's only going to be one or two prime places to try and if you're going to try and set somebody up, but you're going to have to do a lot of work to do it. Everywhere else, it's really just a kind of like a passive opportunity. Someone bobbles, getting out of a corner, and you can get a little bit of a run. But we'll get into that. So let me go ahead and finish the test drive. All right, so right now, tentatively, the race is set for 40 laps at Mugello on Thursday. So I'm going to run half that, and then we'll see how long that takes. Again, I think it's at least 2 laps too long, maybe 4 laps too long. But again, what I'll do is once I'm done with here, usually I'll send race results to Matt, he kind of knows how I structure my mock practice sessions, and then he can figure out, if we need to make adjustments on the lap count from there. So let's go ahead and start the race. Hello, there we go. Start the race. So I'm going to do the same buckets I did last time. We're going to start Forza P2, starting up front. 30 seconds behind them will be the Forza P1 division. 55 seconds back, then will be three wonderful Indy cars, and then I will start 60 seconds back. And it looks like we got, still got the 2017s. Forza loves putting out the 2017 versions, but they're the high downforce ones. So looks like Hinchcliffe, and I think that's Will's car in front of us, and then Dixon up there on the right. But yeah, Road Atlanta for me, I jokingly in the chat I called it Rage Atlanta because I think a lot of us, we all had issues there that night, and for me it was just a little bit of frustration trying to figure out how to work through traffic. Certainly, I made a few unforced errors myself that didn't help my race. And turn 7 at Road Atlanta can kiss my lily white butt. But then that's also my fault for not using trash control. So I'm hoping lessons learned from there will help me here. I still have to figure out how to get this car launched. But again, Road Atlanta, not so many really slow turns. So hopefully that'll help. I'd like to run this without TC, but we'll see how that goes. That might be a race night decision. That. I don't know. Maybe I make that decision now. I could always run 10 laps without it and run 10 laps with it. That's always a possibility. Actually, I'm backing up a little bit earlier than I had said before, but it might be the key to second gear is you just stay in it long enough to get the turbo spooled up, but short shift it to third before the wheels go wonky. Maybe that's the trick. I think I'm a little bit slow through there. See if we can clock a few fast laps off before we start mixing it up in traffic. It's weird because in third gear, it's like I go to the gas and you expect the revs to start going up, but they actually drop a smidge before it starts going back up. So that's why I was like, I don't know, some of these I think second gear might be better if third gear, if the revs are too low. A little bit of understeer on the way in. Oh, that was a little bit early. I think I can brake a little bit later there. 42.5. There's still. I have to. I didn't check what my previous quickest lap was here. The car just. I need to keep steering dialed in a little longer, or at least put a little more in. That's going to be time penalty after time penalty. Turned in too early. And then got to the apex. If I hadn't have backed out and tapped the brakes, I would have been off on the outside. Yeah, that's better. So the braking is going to be before the black, I guess that's a black course condition light there or something. It's right before that. Wow, should have been in too low of a gear. Let's see if I can let's see if I can get a nice clean quick one here. Yeah, just have to wait on the throttle a little bit. Oh, that's late. Still a little too early there. That's going to be a hard habit to break. Three. It's not too bad. I think I had a high 40 on controller, but all right, I'm going to set up for turn 10 on the Ford here. He's going to be really slow through these corners. Almost did it well. I think we're still going to take the shot. Down to second so that I can kind of hold the inside there, leave him room on the outside. That's one difficult thing with racing the AI at Mugello is they are incredibly slow in places they really shouldn't be. The chicane is the prime example. For whatever reason, the exit of that chicane, they check up, and I can gain a crap ton of speed, or I can get caught out if I'm not careful. All right. IndyCar, P1 car, and me. Let's see if we can all get by. Alright, so we're gonna set up for turn 4 here. So I'm gonna try and get the run out of this corner. Not enough. I didn't do that rail. Should have backed off a little more and reset for the run out of here. Because now I have to wait really pretty much until turn 10 again. That's a better run. Gotta be careful so I don't get caught off guard by a slow P1 car. Okay, 2 Indy cars have pitted, and I'm keeping up with the third. Whoa! See, that's that outside curbing. Thought about it. I did set the run up here. Alright, let's see if we can get a run. These guys. Damn it. It was set up if they did. Oh, outside curbing. Hostile curbing. If they hadn't checked up as much, I might have had a nice run down to turn 10. Definitely can out corner them here because they're notoriously slow. Let's see if we can get by the bat. Excuse me. My victory will be short-lived. That IndyCar is going to probably catch me by turn 1 if he gets clear of the bat. And yes, driver car is checking up because somebody went into the pit and was not even in their way. A little early. It's the Mazda. It's the other. Ah! The other Mazda. Oh, a little too much speed. Yeah, it's just the timing and traffic. I'm really not getting close to anybody to where I can practice, passes or drafting into turn one. Yeah, there's that delay in third. There's just that little bit of a delay for the turbo to spool up. That's why I think second gear is probably better, but then if I'm going to do that, then traction control is in order, lest I loop it. If I was a bit more of a aggressive, I might have tried the outside there. I'll back off. See if I can get a run here. All right, well, if we get the run on the Mazda here, I'm going to just try and follow him. I'm going to try drafting down the front straightaway and see what we get. Watch, he'll go into the pits. Nope. And he's got straight line on me. Urgh. He's got acceleration. We seem to be topping out at the same speed. Down to turn 6 here. Maybe not. I haven't quite. If other cars, I might have been able to pull that off because the field or frame of view or point of view is a little bit further back on the hood than this car. But we will take our look. We're going to pit this lap, and I'm actually going to turn on traction control. That allows me to be a little bit more aggressive. The pit entry, very easy. Full throttle, all the way in. And before we finish that off, let's just go ahead and, so 141.3. But let's go ahead and turn traction control on. And resume. What we're doing here, it's a nice long pit lane. Yeah, Mugello 140.7, essentially 140.8. So certainly that was controller time. So certainly I'm leaving some time out there on the table. But let's see if the traction control helps us find that. It'll give me a little more confidence through the slower turns where I kind of want to do second gear. It's not a foot to the floor either, so. And remember, cold tires. The car's not going to turn in as easily. That's okay. I'll catch him. Time to swell this time. I'll take the outside. Excuse me. Alright, I'm gonna pass a whole heap of cars here. What? Come on, Peugeot, get going. A little defensive there with Peugeot coming up behind. It's a little bit early on the turn in. And it's a little bit wide on exit. Well, I can go side by side with the AI because they tend to always back out. I would not advise trying to go side by side up through 8 and 9. That's my personal opinion. But who knows, we'll probably try it. The nice thing about the traction control is, you know, if you still try to drive it as if you don't have it, then it really only kicks in when it absolutely needs to. I'm getting less patient with the traffic. Like, no, I'm gonna get to the front. Oop, there's gear. I see Indy cars. A little different line there, kind of dive it into the corner. A little better exit this time. Might actually be catching a bit of a draft. Definitely am getting a draft. Here we go. Dive bomb! That's a risky move too. Slower cars, you might be able to get away with that one. Just because there's a little bit more, you know, well, you're going slower, but there's usually the braking zones are a little bit bigger. Well, that was early on the turn in. I had to back way out of the throttle. That place, 5 laps to go. No idea who has to pit in front of me, though, and I'm hoping I can hold that Indy car up just a little bit longer. At some point, I'll figure out how to not go wide there. Throttle. It'll catch me up, but again, didn't get my braking right, so the front end pushed a little bit. Still there, huh? Not anymore. Oh, come on. He turned in on my corner. All of a sudden I go to turn in and I can't turn. Oh, he still had the pit. Okay, and the P2. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be a 1v1 here with for first. Unless I make a bonehead mistake, which is not out of the realm of possibility. Turned in too early. This is going to be, oh yeah. I always get scared when I'm chasing AI through that corner. Just chop him off there, though. Last lap. I'm going to kind of put it off. A little Pruitt fade here to the inside. You've lost. You didn't get by me heading into one. Oh, he's going to take a look on the inside. Wow. I underestimated the Forza Drivatar. Almost timed it right. Definitely got that one wrong. All right. So it's going to come down to, well, I'm going to gain a heck of a lot right here because they're notoriously slow through this corner. But I'm not going to be past him. So I've got to time this right. Uh, just couldn't get over to the inside. That's all right. Uh, well, that is Mugello in the Mazda. Again, hopefully we've all kind of learned what we can and can't do with this car now after Road Atlanta and have a much excuse me, much better race at Mugello. But with that, I'm gonna call it a night. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. So happy Mother's Day to those of you that are well. I don't want to get demonetized. Not that I'm making any money anyway. But anyhow, happy racing, guys. See you soon.